an actor, director, and writer, Robert Burns. Welcome here to After Dark. We're resuming After Dark series that I was doing a little while on Instagram, focusing on actors and everybody in the film business. So thanks for coming on here.
Thanks for having me.
I want to start with Red, White, and Black, a project that you decided to step into the directing realm, writing realm on it, and tell me a little bit about that project, meaning I guess the plot and where you are with getting it out to the people.
Well, that movie actually came about from a character from a previous film that never got done. So I got permission to use that character because I like what I was doing with the character, bringing him a 70s kung fu blaxploitation vibe. So I thought of an idea of make a current film around it. Pretty much like the corrupt cop films like Dark Blue, Training Day, things like that. And his character is not from the 70s, but he feels that was just a better time for his persona.
Mm.
So it's just basic. I mean, it's just the basic premise, just like Training Day and the others, where you got the good cops trying to do good things, and then you got bad cops still trying to do bad cops. And we used the premise of COVID when that was going on, and then the killings of unarmed men, where they were doing a whole defund the police movement. So I utilized that as an objective to have smaller cops and have a smaller scale film. And that was an experience directing that and pretty much controlling all aspects of it and wrangling actors to all be available at the same time. And I have more respect for people behind the camera. A lot more respect for people behind the camera.
Yes, sir.
Dealing with that, especially if you're the only one that's got to make sure that everything looks right. The same day of time matches the same day of time of the scene you're shooting on a different day. And wardrobe, making sure everyone's still wearing the same clothes they're supposed to wear when you shoot split scenes and separate scenes. So yeah, it was something. That's actually in post-production now currently with the editors. There's one editor working on it, so he's able to take his time unless I can find some more editors to assist him.
Mm-hmm. And you kind of already mentioned it, but what was the, I guess, hardest aspect of stepping into that role of everything, director, planner, putting, scheduling, all those things.
I think one of the hardest parts was always the night before, because you send the schedules out, you get the schedules, everyone's on board, so you send the schedules to the people available, and then always that night before filming, those messages come in where somebody's either sick or they just can't make it, or vehicle stolen, or there's just some type of madness that happens to where then you gotta change up some things, and then you have the applicable no call, no shows, which then change everything up. And when that changes up, now you either gonna have to try to push it back, and if you can't because of location, you have to rewrite the film. So now you got to be willing to sacrifice pages, but it's not just you. You're sacrificing other talent. Because other talent has scenes and they have monologues that you now have to cut, because now you have to fill in the fact that you don't have what you need there to try to make the movie make sense. So It's a lot of work there, and then you got to go back and read the script to make sure what you cut will still make sense when you still go along with the movie, that you only hope when it goes to editing process still makes sense and be coherent. But that and trying to get a hold of 45 actors, which for the first film of doing a feature, that's probably not the ideal point to have 45 different personalities to deal with. Because that was just because now you're counting on 45 people to have the same type of availability for the scenes they're in.
Right. Right.
And that's hard to do when you only film 1 day a week and on weekends. So, but a lot of lessons was learned from the first one. Actually, still managed to make it through. Of course, it took about 9 months to film 13 days of shooting. Because when we looked at the overall output at the end, we only shot for 13 days.
Mm.
And that took 9 months to get
Yeah,
it.
that's a long time.
Yeah. So,
Well, you were able to complete it, as you said. It's in post production, so that is an accomplishment in itself. And who are some of the talent that we can expect to, really performed well, and if they're experienced or new? Uh, I know they're starring opposite of you, but or supporting. So who are some that stepped up, made it to the shoots, and did a great job?
well, we got Don Smith. Obviously, he's been there because he was actually one of the characters from the previous film that didn't get to work. So he was actually the number one trooper, I would say. He never missed a day. He was there from beginning to the end. Like that last day of shooting was our longest day. He was there with us from 8 in the morning until 10 o'clock at night because we had to get it done. That was the last time in that location. And he did have a bit of a blow up, which I allowed him to have because it was kind of wild what was going on through that whole shooting process. Then we got Vandy and Zor. She was one of the far travelers from Indiana. She was the co-star. She put in a lot of solid work and a lot of hours to it and good input. And George Hildebrand, we we actually had to change his role around as we were going, and he actually took it and enjoyed it because it was a good twist for him. We have Chris Tone, and Patrick Johnson lended a hand. Even got a small minor bit from Kira Wilson. Amy Scobie was also a huge contributor, along with Asia Nicole. We got some minor stuff from Nicole Stubbs and Allison Marie Rogers, who you've worked with before. Some of these people you've probably worked with. Even you had a bit part in there. You was a bit part of it. Brian Cruz churned out some excellent work. Looking at the dailies from him. Rajim also produced. Also got his hand in the film. Jake Reynolds being the DP. And then we got Amber Galloway. She lended a good supporting role, who's also coming back for part three. A lot of these people are coming back for part three unless they, died. But yeah, there's so many others,
Right.
and a lot
Yeah.
of them are getting bigger roles in the second one
Hmm.
because they get such small ones in the first.
Yeah. So
They're
yeah,
getting,
you brought a lot of talent together, and I worked with several of those people. And you mentioned part three, but you already, I know you have a part two script finished, and what's the process on that? I don't have you started shooting that one. I don't know if you have or not, but
we actually have.
okay.
We did some setbacks with it, but we did start. We started that in June, I believe. We've got 3 scenes shot so far, but scheduling has been weird for it, I would say, because everybody's got a lot of things going on. One of our actors, their mom passed, so giving her time for that. Um, and then some other newer people have been added, got some busy schedules, and now that it's the holidays, we're probably not going to try to shoot the rest of this year because of I don't want people worrying about getting their lines down and getting locations and scheduling done when you got family and stuff coming in. Because
Mhm.
the second one changes the tone. The second one's more bogged down. It's about an Uber driver killer.
Mhm.
This one's no less action and very dialogue heavy. And we're still trying to find the main villain because we have to recast because the Kira had the one we had some health issues that end up having to drop out. So now we got to find a replacement for that. So that's also been a hold up a little bit because their scenes are usually isolated.
Mm.
So once we find that person, we can also start reshooting and getting that stuff done. But yeah, now the seasons have also changed, so now we gotta take into account for that.
Right.
But two should be it's definitely smaller, a lot smaller in scale. I have nowhere near the number of actors I had in the first one.
Well, yeah, that's probably a weight off your shoulders for sure.
I
And
did get some more assistance too from schools like Xavier University and UC, so
mm,
they're taking a lot more of the scheduling and stuff that I had to do in the first one.
yeah, it's a great idea. Those students you can that they're really active, want to be kind of interns, so to speak.
Mhm.
They can really help churn out some work. And you're outside of the films that you are producing, directing. Uh, you recently did a couple projects where you play a sheriff, and actually both of them. Talk about those two a little bit, and if they're out, where you can see them, and or when you can see them.
Yeah, A Carpenter's Prayer is a movie I did with Stephen Baldwin, and I was the sheriff in that, and I was served on the deacon board of the church in that as the best friend of the main guy who was the town drunk. That one was in Huntington, Indiana. The University of Huntington shot that, and it was SAG film actually. That's how I got my first SAG credit. So there was a lot of people involved from Atlanta, Pittsburgh on that one. Pretty fun shoot. Took about 3.5 weeks. I was on there 3 weeks, um, and it was pretty fun. I enjoyed my experience there. They pretty much treated you like a king. Brought you drinks, threw your stuff away for you. Couldn't really, do much on yourself besides get your own food. They always had somebody doing it for you. But that one was pretty fun. That can actually be found on Stream or on Amazon that you can rent or buy. So that one is out. The second one they called me back for this year was Overhill Manor. That's in post production. That had Pierce Bronson's son, Paris Bronson,
Mm.
and John Rhys Davis from the Indiana Jones and Lord of the Rings. He was in it. And he's great. Me and him talked for like hours on set. Talked about life and things like that and all his travels. That one I play another sheriff, and it's funny because the outfit is the opposite colors of the first one that was in the Carpenter's Prayer. The Carpenter's Prayer, the shirt was tan, then brown. And then in this one, it's brown, then tan.
Mm.
So it's just like the opposite colors. That one was interesting because that was my first overnight shoot. Also say, but that one we did a shot where we couldn't shoot scenes until 3 a.m. on a farm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that one was a experience. And then our first experience involved in a stunt scene
Mm.
where they had a stunt man coming flying down the street and I had to peel out behind him. So I can't wait to actually see that finished product.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds pretty cool and unique, and obviously something new that we don't get a chance to do things quite like that in the indie space, our indie space. So yeah, I'm sure that was pretty live to do. And finally, apart from the films you're working on, what can the people maybe expect from you going forward? Are you actively looking for more roles to do? Are you just focused on your films? What can people kind of look forward to?
Well, I definitely want to get my films done, but I think once I get part three and then a noir film that I want to do, I think I'll be done on the behind the camera end as far as directing is concerned, maybe, or at least for my own work anyway. Um, I'm just going to pretty much go back to just acting only. My agency's got a new talent agent that's in here, and from what I've seen, she's hammering them out now because I'm getting stuff from Atlanta and other major productions now. So that's going to be interesting to see going forward. But yeah, I still want to get my projects in my mind done while we
Right.
can,
Hmm.
especially before I'm full on SAG,
Right. Right.
which they may be looking for me now.
Right. Well, man, it sounds like you got a lot going on. Continuing to, do big things, and I appreciate you coming on here as we ramp back up the After Dark series. And good luck with everything you got going, in the future.
All right. Appreciate it.